What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprised with new topics every single weekend, jabbing you with a daily dose of UFC. And man, oh man, do we have a lot to talk about from this past weekend. Of course, UFC 325 went down, and I suck. I guess I'm washed on predictions, 5-8. What's wrong with me, boys? What is wrong with me and girls for listening? I mean, holy cow. Holy cow, for goodness sakes. We go 7-6 last weekend. We go 5-8 this weekend, and I'm -1. I'm -1 for predictions on the year. What in the world? But we have a full card recap of UFC 325. I'll talk about my thought process on my predictions and what's next for each and every fighter, as a lot of big things did end up happening. As well, the WWE Royal Rumble took place, and I chose not to illegally stream it. I chose to pay my hard-earned dollars for ESPN Unlimited. And was it worth it? Of course it was not worth it. We're going to give our grades for everything that went down at the Royal Rumble. And as well, I have a TV series review for a new show I watch, which will kick off this episode. And I kid you not, less than 30 minutes ago, just got out of seeing Marty Supreme. My impulse just went to the movies by myself, watched Marty Supreme, and now I feel this new revitalization to take control of my destiny and do whatever it takes to achieve my purpose in life. I'll tell you, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. I know Timothée Chalamet. He's a very broad actor. He is I have my thoughts on him, but he did very good in this movie, and I'll give my thoughts on all that and more. But let's get right into the episode here with my review of 11/22/63. So this was actually a Hulu. It was a Hulu original series. It was based off of a book by Stephen King with the same title, 11/22/63. It's 8 episodes, and the entire premise it's about a time traveler who's attempting to stop the assassination of JFK. And to no surprise, J.J. Abrams directed this and did a fantastic job. You have James Franco starring in this as Jake Epping / James Amberson. He uses like 2 names, his real name and then a fake name when he time travels. You also have Chris Cooper playing Al Templeton, which is kind of his mentor who had tried to stop the assassination before. You also have Sarah Goddard. I had never known about her before, but she absolutely is killer in this as Sadie Dunhill. You also have Lucy Fry in this, acting as Marina Oswald, who was a real person. She was the wife of Lee Harvey Oswald, and she absolutely killed it in this. And George McKay, I believe he played Bill. Bill was kind of like a friend, ended up being like a partner of James Franco's character. And then, of course, Daniel Weber played Lee Harvey Oswald. And Daniel Weber is actually the guy who played Vince Neil in The Dirt. Fun fact. And yeah, this was just a really good series, and the whole premise of it is James Franco plays his character, and of course Al Templeton's character, who's his mentor, basically like lets him know, like, hey, in this diner, this closed down diner, there is a door you walk through, and it takes you back to 1960. And he goes through it, then he comes back, and he's like, oh my gosh, he's like, you have to stop the assassination of JFK. And along the way, it deals with the elements of the past not wanting to be changed. It deals with you doing separate tasks along the way while also trying to complete your task. And then it ultimately is kind of trying to reveal what actually happened. And according to the show, Lee Harvey Oswald just acted alone. But I'm going to be honest, I'm not trying to spoil anything. But the one predictable thing is that in the process of trying to stop, the assassination, along the way, James Franco's character is causing events to happen. Like he inadvertently causes Lee Harvey Oswald's idea to kill the president. It's because of him doing stuff. So I found that pretty funny, and I completed it this morning. And I will say it has a very, heartwarming ending. But the one thing that kind of happened is they kind of, strayed away from like the conspiracy halfway through, and it kind of just turned into a love story with Sadie and James Franco's characters. So, I mean, if you like that, you like that. I thought it was okay. I thought it was decent, that storyline. Bill was a great side character, but my one thing is, like, I would watch, like, 3 episodes, not watch any for 5 days, watch an episode, not watch for 2 days, watch 2 episodes, then watch I think I watched the final 2 today. And I'll say my pacing of it gives you a different viewing experience, especially when you watch certain episodes in certain patterns as opposed to watching them all straight or watching every week. So I think also played a element into my watching of it. But hey, I just find it crazy that this was a Stephen King novel. I swear that everything Stephen King pumps out eventually just turns into a TV series or a movie. So props to Stephen King and his sick, twisted mind, but this is about as tame as it gets for Stephen King. There were some gory moments in this, some good fight scenes. Josh Duhamel was in this. Absolutely love that. He actually played a villain, which was fun to see. And yeah, overall, I say it's a good 7.9 out of 10. It's a good series to watch if you just want a little 8 episode. I think the longest is maybe, over an hour, a little bit, and then the next one, shortest you get is 40 minutes. So it's very easy, simple watch. You could watch it in a day if you really wanted to. So go check it out, 11/22/63. It's James Franco in a more serious role as well, and you don't see James Franco in a lot of things, but I also find it a very telling thing that Hulu sold the rights to this so Netflix could show it, because that's where I watched it, was on Netflix. So 11/22/63, very good. Go check it out. There's a little surprise, a TV series plug in case you wanted to have a new show to watch. And speaking of new, there's this new movie out. It came out in, I believe, the end of 2025, right in the final week of December, called Marty Supreme. And Marty Supreme stars the one and only Timothée Chalamet. And it is labeled a comedy drama film. It's by Josh Safdie. You recognize him from Good Time, Uncut Gems, popular movies. And it follows Timothée Chalamet as Marty, I want to say it's Marty Mauser, otherwise known as Marty Supreme, who is a ping pong player. And it follows his journey to become the best. And the entire theme of this film, in my opinion, as someone who just watched this, a 23-year-old man, is self-belief. Self-belief to the point where you're crazy to do it. And we follow Marty, and it has one of the craziest opening sequences I've ever seen, where we see Marty is a shoe salesman for his uncle, and then some girl comes in, and it's been a little love interest with him, and they start going at it in the back room, and the opening credits roll as we see a sperm race to the egg. I kid you not. Literally, that is the exact sequence. I remember just laughing my eyes out. I'm like, what am I watching right now? And then we dive into it, and he's training, and he's from New York. He practices ping pong at this one ping pong area. Then he goes to London for the national tournament, and he makes it all the way to the finals and loses to this guy named, I want to say it was Enbo or something. Goodness me, what was it? Endo, that's definitely what it was. And he's from Tokyo, and he loses, and he gets angry, and they actually fine him and ban him or something. And his entire life's mission now is to make it back to next year's in Tokyo. And it kind of follows his journey where the girl that he was with, he actually gets her pregnant. So then it's he has to deal with that, and he's trying to find ways to make money. And then he gets a love interest with Gwyneth Paltrow, who I want to say portrays, oh my goodness, who does she portray? I'm really trying to think. Do they have a list here? She portrays Kay Stone, a wealthy retired actress, and they begin a sexual relationship with one another. And then you also have the great Kevin O'Leary, who is Gwyneth Paltrow's husband. And Kevin O'Leary has a future in acting if he wants it. He was phenomenal in this, as he just portrayed himself. And it worked, and he plays this rich businessman, and he's basically the one who, Marty is trying to get money from to, get to where he has to be. You also have Tyler, the Creator, starring in this, which is very fun to see. I'm trying to think of any other notable people in this one. As I look at the cast, maybe nothing, maybe not the most notable names, but you recognize some faces in this. Tracy McGrady stars in this. Tracy McGrady, Kemba Walker. Why are Tracy McGrady and Kevin Walker? Robert Pattinson is the voice of the British umpire at the tournament. Wow, you just got a bunch of random people I didn't even realize were in it, but there is just some crazy scenes in this film. There's crazy subplots going on, and to just kind of, spoil it for anyone so if you don't want to actually know what happens. But Marty is able to make it to Japan. He's banned from the tournament, but he has basically an exhibition matchup against Enbo in the rematch. And in their rematch, he is able to defeat Endo. And he is elated. He is just like the best feeling in the world. And he's able to catch a ride home with some Navy men or some just airmen, some Army people, because this takes place in the 50s. So the height of like the feud between Japan and America. And they, he gets back and he finds out that his lady love interest has had the baby, and the film ends with him bawling his eyes out as he looks at this newborn baby. And it was good. It was good. He basically confesses his love. And you also see the character arc he goes on where he's very selfish. He's very self-centered. And he actually ends up realizing there's more to life than that. So that's certainly a very, element you need to know, is that you need to have a lot of self-belief in yourself. You also got to remember what's important. And you gotta, he's also a serial liar. Like, he lies everywhere he goes. That's a theme of this. And man, it's just amazing. And Timothée Chalamet, he's done it again. He has done it again. Just another top tier performance. But yeah, this movie gets a 8.7 out of 10 for me on the Zach Ruger scale. Budget was $67 million, and at the box office has currently been at $117.4 million, and I just gave them $11 more. So they've already made more money from me. And I didn't even realize until I watched this, as this was an A24 film. A24 is just pumping out just film after film after film, doing excellent jobs of making. So just great work here. I highly recommend it. It's long, and I think one of the elements is you kind of think where it's going to end, or you're thinking it's going to be him making it to the tournament and winning it again, but that's not even how it goes, and he actually finds victory elsewhere in his journey. And there's just some hilarious scenes. There's this scene where he's trying to get his, money back or something, and him and Tyler, the Creator, are basically hustling people at a bowling alley playing Pong. There's this crazy scene where he has this one friend who had won the World Ping Pong Tournament for 4 years, then Marty beat him, and he was a prisoner in Auschwitz, and you find out that he was so good at ping pong, they let him live, and then they trusted him to defuse bombs, and when he was defusing bombs, he was in the woods, and he found a bee, and he followed the bee back to the beehive, and he smoked the bees out with a cigarette, and he wiped honey all over his body, and when he walked back into the sleeping area, he let all the prisoners lick his whole body covered in honey so that they could stay hydrated or just like have something, and which I found that story was just like jaw-dropping when they went through it, because I'm like, that's probably a real thing that happened to people. But just scenes like that in this movie really keeps you guessing, really keeps you going off guard. And yeah, I mean, just a crazy cast head to toe. Like I said, I would love to hate Timothée Chalamet at times. I do think that he's had some interesting roles. If anyone's seen the one where him and Archie Hammer are gay, I mean, I'm literally watching him make out with a man. That's not enjoyable. But Marty Supreme gets you motivated, makes you want to go out there and achieve your dreams. Like I said, 8.7 out of 10. I highly recommend you go check it out. Now, for checking things out, I always recommend the WWE to people. I'm a big WWE guy, and this past weekend I was able to watch one of the biggest WWE events of the year, the Royal Rumble, coming to you from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, at the King Abdullah Financial District Stadium. Wow, that's just a absurd stadium name, and we had 4 matchups on this card, and it was very interesting. Very interesting. I was able to watch it. I nailed all 4 of my predictions, so as much as UFC didn't go well for my WWE knowing, I clearly do know some ball there. But as far as the crowd was actually pretty good. I did not realize how late it was there. This event started at 10 p.m. in Saudi Arabia, which, I mean, it started at 1 p.m. here in Illinois, and I have no idea why it had to start at 10 p.m. in Saudi Arabia, so that's baffling to me. They easily could have started it at 7 and had it start at 11 a.m. my time. I feel like that would have been too big a deal, but this was a very weird event, head to toe. First off, there were supposed to be some pre-show matches, and I have no idea how people were able to watch those. I don't know where they were at, but they might have even been dark matches where they weren't even available. And then we got the show going with the Women's Royal Rumble. And here's the thing. With the Women's Royal Rumble this year, I had no issues with it. Like, it wasn't bad, but I was never really wowed. I was happy Liv Morgan won. I was happy with a lot of things that went down. There were some surprise entrances, more surprise entrances here, I'd say, than the men's. But shout out to Charlotte Flair. She entered at number 1, and she made it all the way until, I want to say, I have no idea where, but she made it almost an hour. She was in the Royal Rumble the longest at 59 minutes and 49 seconds, had 2 eliminations. And number 2 was Alexa Bliss, who is currently her teammate. So they're already showing the cracks there, as they will probably begin a feud when she accidentally eliminated Alexa Bliss. And Charlotte Flair did have two eliminations, so good for her. Kiana James was in this. Kiana James, I don't want to say she's very unknown, but as of right now, she's come over from NXT, and she's just been a manager, but they gave her almost 30 minutes in this Royal Rumble, so shout out to her. Nia Jax was in here for just under 10 minutes, and honestly, glad they got rid of Nia Jax. I can do without her. Ivy Nile came in as a filler. Lola Vice then was able to get just under 5 minutes in the Royal Rumble. Love Lola Vice. She's on NXT right now, probably in the running for, NXT Championship, Women's Championship coming up here, and she's going to absolutely kill it on the main roster. She is just phenomenal. She is really, really good. Candice LeRae was in for 2 minutes. She might have had one of the shortest times, if not the shortest, in the Women's Royal Rumble. Jordynne Grace was able to get 15 minutes and get 3 eliminations. She killed it. I'm so excited to see her on the main roster, maybe going for the Women's WWE Championship, maybe the World Championship. I don't know, but she was good in this. Becky Lynch kind of just getting a mediocre run in here. Had 7.5 minutes in the Rumble, had 1 elimination, but was eliminated by Natty. Very odd choice there. No AJ Lee. I don't think she wanted to come to Saudi Arabia. Same goes for CM Punk. Actually, CM Punk might have been there, but I don't think AJ Lee was because of some political ties or something. But very odd there. And then at number 10, Sol Ruka. And Sol Ruka was in the final 3. 50 minutes for the lady from NXT. And Sol Ruka is probably going to the NXT Women's Championship next. She is going to be a star. She is phenomenal. She has the look. She has the performance. She has the mic skills. She has the skills. I am just so excited to see Sol Ruka in the WWE. And right now she's in NXT. And after seeing that 50-minute, not runner-up, but the one before that, second to last finish this year, great work from her. Roxanne Perez put in 22 minutes. She did all right. Maxine Dupree, was in there for 2 minutes and 47 seconds, just kind of eliminated by Becky Lynch. Natty did good in this. 23 minutes. Natalya has this new persona where she's this bad villain, a heel, and it's working. She actually eliminated Becky Lynch, so I presume she'll have a feud with Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And number 14 was Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan lasted 43 minutes and 50 seconds and had 3 eliminations and won the Women's Royal Rumble. Lash Legend had the most with 5, and I think they're priming her to be, the kind of like the big strong woman, like a big the strong one, because most of the women, they're, like I say, they're delicate, but she's certainly going to be one, been on the main roster a bit now, and she managed to get 5 eliminations and was in there almost 40 minutes. Selena came in kind of just a filler at 16. Raquel Rodriguez in at 17 was actually eliminated by Liv Morgan, and she has a championship match coming up with Steffi Vaquer for the Women's World Championship, so I think that she might be winning that. Chelsea Green was in there for 8 minutes. Julia in there for 14. Io Sky was in for almost half an hour. Asuka came in. Rhea Ripley probably had the biggest pop of anyone in the Royal Rumble. Like when she came back, the crowd went ballistic. Bayley was in there and was just kind of a background role. I think Bayley might be kind of done for in the WWE, just like no hype at all whatsoever. JC James, the NXT Women's Champion, kind of coming out to no pop from the crowd, just wasn't really like connecting with them, and she was eliminated by Sol Ruka, which leads me to believe that she will not be champion much longer. Nikki Bella was in here for roughly, I want to say, 14 minutes, was able to get an elimination of Bayley, and good for her. Lyra Valkyria was in for 10 minutes, and I think she got an elimination of Julia, maybe, so those two might have a little feud. I don't know what's going to go on there. And Kalani Jordan from NXT was in this matchup. Good to see her get just under 10 minutes. Props to her. And then Kairi Sane came in and made it only 1 minute and 36 seconds before being eliminated by Io Sky. So she's just kind of a jobber. And at 29, Brie Bella. Brie Bella, out of both Royal Rumbles, probably the biggest surprise return. Made it 6 minutes. Was able to eliminate Lyra Valkyria. And, yeah, had a little moment with Nikki Bella. But yeah, Brie Bella, she's back. Maybe the Bellas will go after the women's tag titles. I don't know. And then at number 30 was the returning Tiffany Stratton, who was the runner-up in the Women's Royal Rumble. So pretty fun finishing sequence with Sol Ruka going to the top rope, then getting pushed off by Liv Morgan, and then Liv Morgan hit her finisher on, who was it? I was just saying, Tiffany Stratton on the outside ring rope, and then she ended up winning. So good job to Liv Morgan, got it done, did it, and Women's Royal Rumble, it was okay. It's about a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10 match. It was better than the men's this year. Let me tell you that. And, Tiffany Stratton returned. Brie Bella came back. You got to see Nikki Bella. Liv Morgan finally won one. You know what? Not too bad overall. After that, we got into our second matchup, which was Gunther versus AJ Styles for AJ Styles' career. And I can't believe it, but AJ Styles lost. A 24-minute match. It was a great match. I might say it was better than Gunther versus Goldberg and Gunther versus John Cena in terms of in-ring performing. And AJ Styles really gave it his all. And I don't know if this is actually the end for AJ. He kind of teased, how you kind of lay your gloves off or like put your gear down when you're going to retire in the UFC, WWE, maybe even NHL. You like leave your stick on the ice. For NFL, you leave your helmet on the field, kind of stuff like that. And he like teased putting his gloves he has worn his whole career down on the mat, and then kind of resisted and kind of like put them back on and flashed like his little hand symbol and was getting the crowd going. But I think he's done for sure in the WWE. If anything, he might go to TNA or to New Japan, maybe even AEW. But as of right now, AJ Styles is retired from professional wrestling all around. And yeah, Gunther just continues to go on a run. Gunther just getting showcased like crazy here. I have no idea what he did, but Gunther is the face of the WWE right now. He's retired John Cena, he's retired AJ Styles, and we're going to get into his Royal Rumble performance in just a minute here. But yeah, good stuff for both these guys. Good match overall, and is probably match of the year right now, especially when we look at match of the years. They're always on PLEs. Right now, that is probably the best match right now. Maybe Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles is up there, but this one, still very good. Second to last matchup was the singles match for the undisputed WWE Championship, Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. They gave him 16 minutes, and it was a tough spot. Like I said, it's a tough spot to follow up when AJ Styles just retired. Crowd is kind of sad from that. Gunther's finisher being a sleeper, like a rear naked chokehold, it sucks the life out of the crowd. It sucks the life out of you, literally. And, these two did the best they could to revitalize it. I thought this was a fine match. Some good table spots outside with Drew McIntyre powerbombing Sami Zayn through the table. Some close finishes with Sami Zayn hitting his haluva kick. And then I really thought that he was going to win with that. And then Drew McIntyre just kind of looked like an absolute dominant force at the end, hitting him with multiple claymores, yelling in his face like, do it for your son, and, just dominating Sami Zayn at the end of the day. So coming out of this, Sami Zayn looks more weak than ever, losing clean to Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre just looks like a absolute unstoppable force. And we were actually not done with Drew McIntyre, funny enough. So yeah, this match overall, pretty decent, did what it had to do. I don't know these guys' pass for WrestleMania. Right now, Drew McIntyre's, we're going to talk about his in a second, but for Sami Zayn, genuinely no idea. Generally no idea what we're going to do with Sami Zayn. We need Kevin Owens to come back. I think that's what we need. We need Kevin Owens to come back, and those two need to wrap up their feud they were having. But let's get on with that. Let's go to the main event, the Men's Royal Rumble. 56 minutes, one of the shortest Royal Rumbles in history. I kid you not. And obviously not in history, but in the modern era of the Royal Rumble. If you get under an hour, that's weird. That's weird, and this was a weird Royal Rumble head to toe. So, of course, if you didn't know, Roman Reigns won by last eliminating Gunther. So when I talk about Gunther being on the showcase here, yeah, he literally retired AJ Styles, then was runner-up in the Royal Rumble. That was crazy. But Roman Reigns gets it done, wins his second Royal Rumble, and let's go through it. Okay, let's go through the Royal Rumble. So we start things off with Oba Femi. And Oba Femi comes in, and the crowd loves him. I love to see him connecting with the audience. Had the most eliminations, or was tied for the most with 5, and he looked great here. Looked great. We then go to the number 2 spot, and it's Braun Breaker. As we all know that, it had been unintentionally or maybe intentionally leaked that he was coming out at number 1, so then it was changed to number 2. Very odd. But as he's walking down, he's about to get in the ring. A masked figure comes out, attacks him, hits him with a curb stomp, and runs away. I'm sick of the masked figures. I'm sick of it. It's either Seth Rollins, maybe Adam Pearce, maybe, I don't even know, Logan Paul, Austin Theory. I don't know. But Braun Breaker is then thrown into the ring, and Obafemi tosses him out in 10 seconds. So, Braun Breaker thrown out right away. I didn't hate it. It was a good way to start the Royal Rumble. Kept everyone off guard. Good stuff. Then coming in at number 3 was Solo Sikoa. And Solo Sikoa and Obafemi are going at it. Rey Mysterio gets in. And then Rusev comes in at number 5. And Rusev is jobbed out by Obafemi. I mean, Rusev getting a jobber treatment. I mean, remember when he had kind of that hype win over Sheamus, then was feuding with Dominic Mysterio for the belt? Yeah, no. 30 seconds. He lasted the least amount of time out of anyone in the Royal Rumble besides Braun Breaker. That's crazy if you ask me. Rey Mysterio is then thrown out as well. So is Solo Sikoa, and Obafemi is just clearing house. Matt Cardona comes in. He barely makes it a minute. And then Damian Priest comes in, and Damian Priest is lasting a while with Obafemi. Javon Evans comes out, and we're getting, Javon Evans and Obafemi running it back from NXT. And then our first surprise entrant is Mr. Iguana from a Triple A. Oh my gosh. Mr. Iguana coming in, doing this 2 minutes of comedic wrestling, and it just didn't connect. Like, it was goofy to watch. It was funny if you love Triple A. But, this just didn't feel like the right environment to be joking like that. And he's jobbed out by Trick Williams, who came in at number 10. And believe it or not, Trick Williams only made it 6 minutes. Like, that really shocked me. In that time period, he eliminated El Grande Americano, the Ludwig Kaiser version, and then he also eliminated, who was I just saying, Mr. Iguana. So Trick Williams, 6 minutes, did what he could, and, he was fun. We were seeing interactions with him, Obafemi, and Javon Evans, the 3 faces of NXT at one point. Now they're all on the main roster, and they're all killing it, so that was fun. At number 11, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes coming in at number 11. Pretty shocking. Didn't see him coming out that soon. 36 minutes and 50 seconds in the Rumble for 3 eliminations. He was in there a while. Then number 12 and number 13 was our El Grande Americano face-off. The Chad Gable version, the Ludwig Kaiser version. That was fun. Kind of like the Spider-Man meme, pointing at each other like, wait, I'm you, you're me. That was fun. And number 14, Royce Keys, otherwise known as Powerhouse Hobbs from AEW. Don't know a lick about him, but came in, managed to get an elimination, actually, crazy enough, of Damian Priest. And, 10 minutes from Royce Keys. So clearly he matters to the WWE. Clearly they're throwing him into the mid-card right away. And I could see him going after a Intercontinental or United States Championship, maybe even feuding with the Vision, or they could have him square off with Damian Priest. But clearly he is of value to the WWE. Then at number 15 and 16 was Austin Theory and Bronson Reed. They were clearing house, eliminating luchadors coming up here, but they were in there. At number 17 came in Ilya Dragunov, and he put in 11 minutes of work. And now, we reached this point. We got 17 people in, and we're kind of thinking I was watching with my buddy Tyler, and we're kind of doing the math, and we're like, we don't have that many surprise entrance spots left, do we? And we're like, no, we got to really use them good. And then number 18 is La Parka from Triple A. 2 of the surprise spots go to Mr. Iguana and La Parka. And La Parka is doing flips. He's bouncing around everywhere. He's jumping over the ropes. But he's not connecting with the audience because no one wanted to see that. It'd be fine if we had other surprise entrances, but no others beside him. And number 19 is Dragon Lee. And number 20 is Logan Paul. And we're like, we only have 20 people left. And the in-ring action has been fine, but, we're still waiting for that big name to come out. And that number 21, L.A. Knight. And L.A. Knight is back from his injury, his hiatus. He's back. He gets a massive pop. He comes in. He's clearing house. He's eliminating Bronson Reed, Austin Theory. He's doing a wonderful, wonderful job. And then in at number 22, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar in at 22, and, to everyone's shock, he kind of just casually eliminates Obafemi. Just out of nowhere, Obafemi is trying to eliminate Logan Paul, and then Brock Lesnar eliminates him, which was kind of crazy to see. Then at number 23, The Miz. Why in the world is The Miz in this? And he somehow made it 7 minutes and legit did nothing. Just a filler role for The Miz. Disappointing to see. At number 24, Rey Fenix. No one wanted to see that. Just was sick of luchadors in this Rumble. We had way too many. And then in at number 25 was Jey Uso. And this really went from, okay, this is just building, to a utter crane crash, train wreck I've ever seen. As Jey Uso decides to enter through the crowd and is yeeting like crazy, and he's not even in the ring yet, and Brock Lesnar is just casually eliminated by Cody Rhodes and LA Knight mid-entrance from Jey Uso. I mean, it made 0 sense. Literally 0 sense. Jey Uso comes in, and he runs back his entrance. I mean, it was so painful to watch. Like, Jey Uso, just thumbs down. Thumbs down to you, Jey Uso. Might have ruined the Royal Rumble. And number 26 was your winner, Roman Reigns. He comes in, clears house. He ends up eliminating Jey Uso. He eliminates, I want to say, did he eliminate Javon Evans? I think he was the one that eliminated, or maybe that was Randy Orton. I don't know, but he cleared house. He was eliminating people. And then at 27 was Jacob Fatu. You got to stare down with Fatu, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. And number 28 was Penta, which was just such filler. Sick of that. Randy Orton came in at 29, but I think it was too little, too late. No one thought he was going to win. And at number 30, no Chris Jericho, but none other than Gunther. Gunther coming in at 30 to just no booing, no applause, just kind of groans from everyone. And we get into the final sequence here. Everyone's kind of getting eliminated. LA Knight is just kind of jobbed out by Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes just casually eliminates LA Knight. And then Cody Rhodes is kind of hanging on the ropes, and Drew McIntyre just comes in and Claymores him as he's on the outside and eliminates him. So Cody Rhodes just eliminated by, who do they even credit Cody Rhodes' elimination by? Oh, it's by Drew McIntyre, so he wasn't even eliminated by anyone in the match. Final 4 ends up being Logan Paul, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, and Gunther, and I have no idea how Logan Paul has wound up in either his 3rd or 4th Final 4. That's just ridiculous. I know the last, I'm pretty sure, 2 or 3 years he has been in the Final 4, which was just goofy. Final 3 ends up being Randy Orton, Gunther, and Roman Reigns. Randy Orton is just kind of casually thrown out by Gunther, and that's Gunther and Roman Reigns. And I think, out of the two, it ended up working out that Roman Reigns won. He was the predictable favorite, but the thing was, it didn't feel earned. It felt given. It felt like we just gave Roman Reigns the Royal Rumble. Like, it did not feel earned whatsoever, especially the just underwhelming finish. Like, just no drama. It's just Gunther going for a rear naked chokehold on Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is able to reverse, lands a spear, and throws out Gunther casually. Nothing special, nothing exciting, and then he just points at the sign, and that is that. So, overall, not a good event. Not a good event for the Royal Rumble. I mean, I'll say the best match was Gunther versus AJ Styles. Women's Rumble was okay. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn was whatever. And the Men's Royal Rumble, thumbs down. Not it. Not it, guys. Don't go back and rewatch it. Is it the worst Royal Rumble? No. No, we've been in the trenches. 2015, 2022, 2023. We've been through some rough Royal Rumbles. And this one is just part of them. All right, it's not the worst. It's just there. It's there for being bad. But don't go around saying like, oh, this is the worst Royal Rumble of all time. No. Not that, but almost that. Almost that to an extent. It was just not enjoyable. So, Royal Rumble, it happens. It wasn't the best. And actually, it reminds me now I should go cancel my ESPN Unlimited subscription. But I will not be canceling my UFC predictions for the year. Just because we had a rough event does not mean I'm done. So we still do have to talk about UFC 325, and a lot of stuff happened. We have a lot of new faces to welcome to the UFC and a lot of interesting updates that will be made to the rankings. So let's go through the entire card and talk about what is next for each and every one of the fighters. So first up at men's bantamweight, we had Lawrence Liu and Sulang Rangbo going at it for the bantamweight road to the UFC winner championship, however you want to call it. And my boy Sulang Rangbo loses a split decision. So that sucks. That really does suck. Sulang Rangbo dropping his 3rd professional, or actually 4th professional defeat as Lawrence Liu gets it done, improves to 8-1, and will be getting himself a little UFC contract. As far as this fight goes, I mean, this was just kind of striking versus grappling. And round one, Lawrence landed 4 takedowns. Su Langbrew outstruck him 25-12. Round two, Lawrence landed 1 takedown, outstruck Su Langbrew for 20 significant strikes at 12. And then round three, landed 2 takedowns and outstruck him 20-19 significantly. So Lawrence Liu gets it done. Welcome to the UFC, and that is 1 victory for the night for the man from Auckland, New Zealand, right? Yeah, out at City Kickboxing. Yes, I thought I recognized Auckland, New Zealand. Good work, Lawrence Liu. And Su Langbrew, yeah, you're not making it to the UFC, my friend. Very sad, but he's only 20. He's got plenty of time to change. Up next, we had a comeback of the year, kicking us off right off the rip as Sebastian Soule is knocked out in round 3 by Kichiro Nakamura. Kichiro Nakamura was not just down round 1, not just down round 2, but was losing round 3, and we were coasting to a victory, and then he lands a perfectly timed knee, which shuts the lights out on Sebastian Soule. His arms flail, he goes to the ground, and Sebastian Soule gets knocked out. I mean, wow. Not too surprised here, but the striking was looking so crisp for Soule. He was doing a great job working him. I mean, round 1, 23-13 outstruck him. Round 2, 24-11 significant strikes. Round 3 was 32-21. And with just over a minute and a half remaining, is able to just put the lights out on him. So Kichiro Nakamura getting us our first finish of the night. His 7th career knockout, his 8th straight win. And yeah, for sure, he's going to be heading into the UFC featherweight division. Getting it done, not even mad at him. Not even mad, representing his nation of Japan. And, hey, Japan getting us another fighter. I don't know how he's going to, fare when he's in the UFC, but, hey, good stuff for him. There'll be fun matches to be had, with a lot of just low-level guys. But for now, good job there. And Sebastian Soule, back to the drawing board. Maybe next year you'll make it to the UFC. And then our final road to the UFC fight, we had Dom Marfan taking on Sang-Woo Kim, and Sang-Woo Kim could not get it done. Drops all 3 rounds and is outstruck 99-68 significantly after going 1 for 9 on takedown. So good job to Street Buddha, Dom Marfan, getting the victory, representing Brisbane, Australia, his 5th straight victory. And as for Sang-Woo Kim, his 4-fight win streak is snapped. He has actually lost twice now on the road to the UFC, Season 2 and Season 4. So this will presumably be the end of the road for him. Kind of road to the UFC. This is the end of the road for him. So, yeah, goodbye, Sang-Woo Kim, with a record of 13-4. I do not think you're going to make it to the UFC. But, hey, Dom Marfan getting it done. Lightweight division. Fun matchups to be had for you. And for these 3 guys that all won, I don't really have any names in particular for them just off the top of my head. I mean, I could always look at, for lightweight, there's always, who could I match make if I'm actually generally trying to think here? Maybe Ishmael Bonfim. Ishmael Bonfim is 1-3 in his last 4. That could be a fun first fight for Dom Marfan, if I'm being honest. For Kichiro Nakamura at featherweight, maybe, who's a good name? Who's a good name to give him? I'm a little torn right now. You could maybe say Yizha. Honestly, Yizha could be a fun first fight for him, who we're just going to talk about. And for Lawrence Liu, bantamweight, let's give him to whoever Raul Rosas Jr. just recently beat. Whoever that guy was. Vince Morales? Yeah, Vince Morales versus Lawrence Liu. Just make it. But then we got into the actual fights where guys who had been in the UFC, and we kicked it off. Con Offley, Yizha, and we get a bogus decision. Yizha robbed here. Yizha absolutely robbed on this decision, and starting the card 0 for 4 does not do wonders for my mental state on predictions. Round 1, Con Offley outstruck him 23-19, so Con Offley takes round 1. Round 2, Yizha drops him, Yizha lands a takedown, and outstrikes him 31-10. And then round 3, Yizha outstrikes him 18-15 significantly and went 2 of 2 on takedowns. And they still decided to give round 3 to Con Offley. 29-28, 28-28, and a 29-28. Only David Lethaby got it right. Maybe Con Offley won. Oh, my gosh. It was a draw, or I have no idea. I have no justification here. Yizha is robbed, is 1-2 in his last 3, and he'll bounce back. He will bounce back. I guarantee that. Just can let you know that. I think he's got a fun matchup. I do think they're maybe going back to Macau, China in May or something, and him versus Ju Sang Yu, I think would be a super fun fight. Just a South Korean, a China man, just going at it. Hey, that's a little country on country action. I'm here for it. As for Con Offley, I mean, this is now 2 straight wins. Good for you. I don't really know what to do with you. Featherweight division, maybe feed him to a Dre Anderson Brito, a Jack Jenkins. I don't know. I don't know what to do with you, Con Offley, but you've somehow finessed a decision victory here. I mean, even when we look at it, a knockdown, 68 significant strikes, and 3 takedowns, pale in comparison to 48 significant strikes from Con Offley. So judges, screw our boy Yizha here. Nothing much more to say. For the next matchup, literally my man screwed himself. Oban Elliott had this in the bag and just choked it. He really did. Round 2 is submitted by Jonathan Mikalev. And Jonathan Mikalev did not look like the guy who beat the brakes off of Kevin Jousset. Just not the case. Not the case whatsoever. I was a little surprised at it. I was a little surprised. I don't really know what was going on there in this matchup. But Oban Elliott, round 1 and into round 2 is just piecing him up. Piecing him up on the feet. He's hitting them with good shots. He's bringing it to him, and Jonathan Mikalev is just not having his hands up. He's getting caught over and over and over again, and I'm feeling more and more confident that Oban Elliott is not only going to win, he's going to get a knocked out. It's going to be fantastic. And then just randomly, round 2 is taken down. His back's given up, and Mikalev locks in a rear naked chokehold, and it's his 4th career submission. It's like, Oban, you did this to yourself. You did this to yourself, and in his last 2 fights, it has become more evident than ever that he has a significant disadvantage in the grappling game. It really is, and that is the area he struggles in. That's the area that has given him trouble in the past, and it was fairly evident here that it was a major hole for him. So, yeah, tough look for Oban Elliott here. He's now on a 2-fight losing streak. I don't really know if he can bounce back. If I'm being honest, I don't want to be super, drastic here, but I just don't really know what to do with him next. There's plenty of unranked welterweights we could have him square off with, but none really come to mind that would be of notoriety. Kevin Jousset was actually cut from the UFC. I thought that could have maybe been a fun fight, but I don't know. Tough luck here for Mikalev. I don't really know. I don't really know, guys. This is just a weird fight for both guys where none really came out looking as dominant as they did coming in. But hey, good job, Jonathan Mikalev, getting the submission. Props to you. Next up, middleweight division. And yes, we did start out 0-for-6 on predictions, and I was very upset. But little did I know, I knew Torres Finney wasn't that good, but to this extent, I mean, he made Jacob Malkoun look like a striking master. Okay, 117 significant strikes to 27. No idea how Torres Finney even made it to the bell. He was so gassed. Shot 0-for-1 on takedowns. Outstruck 61-7 significantly in round 1. 37-8 in round 2. And round 3, I mean, Malkoun just landed 2 takedowns and kind of dominated him there. So, Jacob Malkoun, 2-fight winning streak. Good for him. There's going to be guys at middleweight for you to square off with. If I'm being honest, I think we just match make the next fight, Cam Rouston versus Jacob Malkoun, and we just do that. But yeah, Malkoun getting it done, and for Torres Finney, probably going to get cut. I think they're going to cut him, or maybe he'll fight Cody Brundage. All right, there's about no other in between. Maybe even Eric McConko, Bosinger Susakarev. It depends if they want to do even matchmaking or just feed Torres Finney to someone else. But one notable thing is that Torres Finney is such a bulky, large, meaty, muscly individual. He's impossible to submit. And it was so funny watching Jacob Malkoun just unable to lock in a submission just because of how broad his body is. So at least there's a success there for Torres Finney, but he definitely injured his leg to some bad extent. So he'll be out for a while. But Malkoun, I don't know who you're going to fight next at middleweight, but I don't know if I'm going to pick you to win, to be honest. Then finally, we predicted a correct fight. Finally, oh my goodness. Cam Rouston, Cody Brundage. Name of the game here, Cam Rouston kind of feeling out round 1, eating some heavy shots from Cody Brundage. Got in round 2, all Cam Rouston, 34 significant strikes to 9. Pieces Brundage up, eventually leading to the TKO stoppage when he literally just stumbled and fell backwards. So good stoppage there. Cam Rouston, you absolute legend. Love that you're getting the win here. 6 straight wins, 6 career knockout. And look at that. Look at that. He is now 2-0 in the UFC within the last 5 months, both with knockouts. So excited to see what is next for Cameron Alston. I like a lot of middleweight matchups. I love matchmaking on the same card. A little Jacob Malkoun action. I could even maybe see an Edmund Shabazian matchup. I think that would be fun. You could always give him to Kyle Dawkins, a Brad Tavares. You could give him to, quite literally anyone. Bruno Silva? No, he's probably cut from the UFC. Bruno Ferreira. That's what I was thinking of. So, yeah, Cameron Alston, you're good. You're great. And as for Cody Brundage, Torres Finier gets cut. And I'm probably going with the getting cut here because his record is now 11-8-1, and he has 7 losses in the UFC to only 5 wins. So, bye-bye, Cody Brundage. Cameron Alston, welcome to the big leagues. Then our final prelim of the night, Billy Elikana, Junior Tafa. This one got crazy from the jump in the opening exchanges of this fight. Billy Elikana is just knocked down so badly. I thought it was game over. Manages to fight his way into round 2. He's outstruck 26-9 significantly, and you're like, wow, changing of the guard here. Good job to Billy Elikana. And then round 2 comes around, and lo and behold, Junior Tafa forgets that you need to keep it on the feet. Billy shoots for some takedowns, manages to get one, manages to get into take his back, and locks in a beautiful rear naked choke. And just as we predicted, Billy Elikana submits Junior Tafa. Quite down to exactly what I thought, that Junior Tafa was going to be landing some heavy blows, and Billy just takes him down. So at least we know that we can at least predict not every single fight wrong. We know some ball here on the channel. Billy Elikana, this will be his 3rd career submission, his 3rd straight win, and his 2nd straight rear naked chokehold finish. Good job to Billy. I've always liked him. I've always thought he's been good, especially since the Bogdan Guskov fight. And at light heavyweight, I mean, you're going to have options. You really are. I don't know exactly what they view him as, because, the guy who beat Junior Tafa last time, Tugo Tukos, I think it would maybe be a layup for Billy Elikana, so that could be a fun option. I also really like Brenson Ribeiro if he's still going to be in the UFC. Maybe the loser of Omar Sy and Anku Dalaba. There's a lot of fun matchups you can do with Billy Elikana. Now, for Junior Tafa, he is 6-5. He's 2-5 in the UFC. He's getting cut. Go to the regional scene. Go to the PFL. Junior Tafa, you got to reassess that grappling, man, because it has not got you far, and it has actually cost you wins in the UFC. So we end the prelims going 2-6, which was brutal, but then we went into the main card and start off good. It started off good. Quinlan Sakiad, Jamie Mullarkey. Jamie Mullarkey not making it easy. Jamie Mullarkey fighting hard, not letting Quinlan put him away, but once Quinlan realized he can just land takedowns, that's exactly what he did. Got him to the ground, put him in a nice little neck crank, and GG's. Yeah, Quinlan Sakiad, an absolute legend. He has now won 4 of his 4 fights in the UFC. He's on an 11-fight winning streak. This was his 4th career submission, and he just comes out here looking amazing. First performance of the bonus of the night, plus the finish bonus. What's that, $75K for the guy? And he's a stud. He's an absolute star. He's going to get a bigger name at lightweight. I saw people suggesting Beneil Dariush at number 11. I don't know if they're going to send him to the rankings yet. They easily could. I would be completely behind it. But you could also give him a tune-up fight. I know he picked up a nice win over Jamie Mullarkey here, but there's always, your Bobby King Greens, your Lance Gibson Juniors. There's guys like that I think they could tune up. But Quinlan Sakiad at 26 years old is going to be the future of mixed martial arts in Australia, and a big win for him here on home soil. As for Tai Tuivasa, the same cannot be said as Talashan Teixeira makes work of him. And this fight was crazy for one reason, the fact it went the distance. All right, and we open up the fight with Tai Tuivasa landing 2 significant strikes. 2 significant strikes. They both wobbled Talashan Teixeira to an extent I thought he was going to get knocked down. What does Talashan do? Puts him up against the cage, lands a takedown, and controls him for the whole round. Round 2 comes out, and what does Tai Tuivasa do? He's trying to knock out Talashan Teixeira. Talashan lands a takedown and then proceeds to hold him there. And then round 3, it's just Tai holding Talashan against the cage. He wins round 3, but these two are so exhausted. Like, this was embarrassing. embarrassing for both of them. It was comedic to a point. I mean, these two are just gassed to the gills, could barely freaking stand. And yeah, lo and behold, Talishon Teixeira gets the decision, winning the first 2 rounds decisively, and then dropping round 3 in a boring extent. But decent bounce back win. Yeah, this is actually going to take him from number 15 to number 12 in the rankings. So shout out to that, Talishon. I think a fight next with Shamil Gaziev or Ante Deleje is next in the cards for him. But I don't know how good he is. Clearly, this fight showed some holes in his game, but he was good enough to go the distance. And this fight to go the distance was plus 700 on the live odds, so that was crazy. For Tai Tuivasa, heartbreak, 6th straight loss, and there's really nothing more to do with him. Cut from the UFC. I don't know what else to do with him. I really don't. He hasn't won since 2022. It's been 4 years. So Tai Tuivasa, Junior Tafa, literally the same people, literally the same build, and they're both getting cut. Same for Cody Brundage, same for Torres Finney. There's a lot of guys that could get cut in this card, if I'm being honest. Just kind of disappointing. Now, for our next fight, not disappointing at all in the performance. Disappointing that Rafael Fiziev is washed now. He really is. And first off, credit to Mauricio Ruffy for his dominant work here. He's going to go from being ranked number 14 to being ranked number 9. So crazy jump for the kid. But yeah, Mauricio Ruffy just had better striking than Fiziev. And Fiziev, for some reason, just kept going for leg kicks, similar to Diego Lopez we'll talk about. Just the leg kicks weren't working, and you keep getting clipped when you throw them. So obviously there's going to be some issues, and Ruffy's able to capitalize on it, land a beautiful straight, which wobbles Fiziev, stays on the pressure, drops into the ground in round 2, and with 30 seconds left, Daniel Mavadelli had to step in and call it. Great win from Mauricio Ruffy, a round 2 TKO over Rafael Fiziev. And man, Ruffy, got to give it to him. I did not think he would bounce back here. I thought that we would actually be able to see some more takedowns from Fiziev. He attempted, but could not land any successful takedowns on Mauricio Ruffy. And hey, Ruffy, great bounce back win, 12th career knockout, his 13th career win. I mean, good stuff. Good stuff for him, and he's in for some big fights next. He really is. He's going to be ranked at number 9. You're going to have Dan Hooker at 6, Mateusz Gamrot at 7. Those are the 2 names I'm looking at. Really are. And I think Dan Hooker would be a super fun fight. You know, Dan Hooker clearly can't grapple. Let's have him fight a striker. Let's make it fun. That's the next fight I want there. And as for, Fiziev, this will be now 1-4 in his last 5. He's also 33 years old in March, and I just don't know if he's going to make it far anymore in the UFC. Now, what fight should be next for him? I'm looking at Fair Zayam. I'm looking at Manuel Torres. I'm even going to throw Michael Chandler's name in there. There's options. But yeah, I just don't know for Fiziev. I just think his time in the UFC has come to an end. And, he's just unfortunately getting knocked out here. This was the worst loss he's taken yet in the UFC. And he didn't even show signs of deep progression last year. He actually looked good. I think this also just speaks to Mauricio Ruffy's levels. So good job to Ruffy. You'll get a big top 10 opponent next for Fiziev. Man, I hope you're able to bounce back from that. Co-main event was up next. And Benoit Saint-Denis taking on Dan Hooker and a mauling. Just a mauling from Benoit Saint-Denis, and just a funny fight where clearly the game plan is you just need a takedown, and he went takedown hunting. And at the end of the day, he didn't even get a takedown in round 3. Dan Hooker defended it, and then in the process of going for a submission, Benoit Saint-Denis ends up on top, is able to try and lock in some arm triangles, multiple points, but at the end of the day was just leveling him with punches and elbows. 108 total strikes to 17 in round number 2. For the total fight, 97 significant strikes to 30 for Benoit Saint-Denis, 170 total strikes to 51. Just crazy work here. And, Benoit Saint-Denis is now on a 4-fight winning streak. He's going to go from being ranked number 8 to being ranked number 6. Dare I say number 5? And he has a massive fight coming up next. I kid you guys not. There is going to be some names he could be squaring off with next, which is just crazy to think about. Now, first off, Dan Hooker, like I said, 2-fight losing streak, but he's lost to grapplers. All right, so let's give Dan Hooker a break. Let's give Dan Hooker to Mauricio Ruffy, I was just saying, to Manuel Torres, to Fair Zayam. Let's give Dan Hooker some strikers so he doesn't just get grappled to death. Now, I will say he's 35. Don't know how much more fighting is left in him, but this was his 8th career loss by finish, and it's not looking too pretty for the Hangman. But yeah, good work for Benoit Saint-Denis. I love Benoit Saint-Denis. And what's next for him? Well, people were saying Arman Sarukian. That fight makes sense. People were also saying Paddy Pimblett. I like that. And even another option could even be the loser of Oliveira and Max Holloway. Like, Benoit Saint Denis is in the mix now at lightweight, and it's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think that in September of 2024, he was beaten by Renato Moicano by TKO, and now he's top 5, going to be taking on a top 5 guy, and Moicano is littered to the bottom 15. Dare I say even unranked coming up. So it's crazy how quick this game moves, and you got to stay active, you got to stay attentive, and that's what Benoit Saint Denis has done, and safe to say this might be the biggest win of his career. You know, Dan Hooker is a legend of the game, and props to you, Benoit. Good freaking work. Which brings us to our main event. We're now 0 for 2 on main events this year. Not too pretty, as Volkanovski just schools Diego Lopez to a decision victory. Now, the weird thing is, it was closer than the first fight, oddly, and yet at the same point, Volk edged out every single round. Now, there was a moment, of course, in round 2 where he dropped him. I also thought that Lopez won round 4. I actually had it 2-2 heading into round 5, but I also saw the case for 4-0 Volk. And at the end of the day, Diego Lopez only landed 3 significant strikes in round 5. Bro was just not throwing. And bro also kept throwing body kicks and leg kicks that were not dealing damage, and then he was getting clipped. Volk was clipping him on the comeback, so it was just not working out well at all. 98 significant strikes to 70. Each man land 2 takedowns. Volk actually went for a standing choke at one point, and Diego Lopez tried one as well. But yeah, just Volkanovski, greatest of all time, second straight win. This one fight of the night, but to be honest, it was a good fight. It wasn't like last week's Gaethje Paddy Pimblett. Now that's a fight of the night. That's fight of the year right now. But for Volk and Lopez, it was okay. Volk is currently number 5 on the pound for pound. I'm having him go up to number 3. Like, he should be ahead of Alex Perrin and Hamzat Chimaev if you're asking me. For Diego Lopez, he should remain ranked at number 2. People are saying maybe he should go to lightweight, so maybe Benoit Saint Denis versus Diego Lopez. That could be an option. Other than that, I mean, he has Yair Rodriguez would be a fun feud. I think that would be a good option. Or dare I say even Aljamain Sterling. But I don't know. Volk remains unbeatable, and he'll be taking on the winner of Movsar Evloev and Leroy Murphy when they fight, presumably in March. So, decent main event. We predicted it wrong. I should have known better than to pick against Volk, but we'll be back. We will be back. UFC 325, overall a success, a much better start to the year than last year when we look at our February, our second pay-per-view of the year with UFC 312. But 325 was good for what it was. We had some fun moments. I'll say the best moments was definitely probably, it wasn't anything too memorable. No, all the finishes were okay. Fights that went to distance were nothing bad, but yeah, at the end of the day, UFC 325 came, it went, and we keep it moving. And we'll be moving on to the Apex next weekend for a number of fun fights. You get to see Wang Kong, Said Nurmagomedov takes on Javid Basharat, Dustin Jacoby is back, Gene Matsumoto versus Farid Basharat's a fun fight, Michael Olajacek back in action, top 10 heavyweights, Halton Almeida versus Rizvan Kuniev, top 10 flyweights, Amir Albazi versus Koichi Horiguchi, and top 15 bantamweights, Mario Bautista and Mencius Oliveira. So a lot of fun, a lot of stuff to like coming up here, but we do not get another pay-per-view, or if you want to call it a number event, until March 7th, which is going to be Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. So I do think that's maybe going to be the best fight of the year so far, and we get there. But for now, we close it out. We bid you adieu, and yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back. These Apex cards, we'll stack it up. We'll go undefeated on predictions, and we'll make some money. We really will. But all my locks hit, Cam Ralston, Benoit Saint Denis, Talashan Teixeira, and Quinlan Sakiat. So my 4 locks all hit. So at least we have to point that out. All right, we have to look at some positives there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. It was a fun weekend of watching the Royal Rumble, watching UFC 325, literally just watching Marty Supreme, which was fun. And now it's back to the work grind. Back to it, back to make some money, back to make a name for myself, and back to stay productive. Because when you're unemployed, you're not that productive, I've come to find out. So, ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. We'll get you another episode later in the week with your Super Bowl predictions, your UFC Vegas 100 and... what are we on now? 113, I want to say, and a whole boatload of more fun. So get out there, have some fun, and I'll catch you next time on the Surprise Jab Podcast.